Hello, welcome to the Honest Wargamer. I'm your host Rob. Welcome to Stream Street Day 223. That's right, and I'm joined by Matt. Oh,
hello.
Don't make me crucify your last name. I'm not going to say just Matt. The lovely Matt. Yeah.
You know what? I count like how many times you get it right, like from you said it, and I don't think you got it right once. So it's all good.
Give me how to say it, and I'll get it. Go on. Goldsborough. Matt Goldsborough, everybody. Matt Goldsborough. Here he is. Goodsborough. Gooseberry. So hello everyone, welcome to the show. Today's show, we're going to be talking about the Broken Realms updates. I mean, that's what me and Matt are going to be talking about, very exciting. And Matt's on to talk to me about Lumineth, in a kind of like Lumineth update since the book release. Obviously, we did the book review show, which I thought we did a pretty good job on. But, you know, you're always going to miss stuff on that first run through. And I'm sure Matt's got a whole bunch of stuff he's been playing on TTS. Playing it on TTS this weekend, I think?
Yeah, whenever it is. I've got to arrange my game because the guy I'm playing is like in California, which is like 8 hours behind me. So
you got to get it on.
Like, yeah, exactly. But
you bought the models, right? And you've been deep diving the book a little bit.
Oh God, yeah. I've been slowly painting away because I've every time I decide to do this, I do an army. I go simple. Let's keep it simple this time, and then I never do that. So it's my own fault.
I don't think anyone ever does. So I just want to say hello to everyone in the chat. So that's what we're going to be talking about today. Say hello everyone to the chat. Beat the Wargamer, Jog, PLC, Marcus Rock, John Thompson over on YouTube says, played my first game of Lumineth Realm-lords last night. Swingy. I think it would rather have the brutal effectiveness of my Slanesh Godseekers. Sentinels average unless you spent £120 on a unit. Okay, we'll come back to that. Hello everyone. War Machine, I hope you're well. Congratulations, by the way, on your anniversary. Darker Design, Tom the Hobbit, Bling Marine, nice to see you. Get to the chopper, what up? Adam Jackson, Sinful Gaming, hello everyone. So we're going to talk about the news though first, Matt, because it's pretty massive news. They're so big that they broke the realms. There you go, that's 10 points from me. But the Broken Realms, so we've seen like a slew of information about just the Marathi book seems to contain a fucking ton of stuff, which is really exciting.
Yeah.
So I'll go through the stuff in detail. So if you guys for some reason haven't seen, if you listen to this show but haven't seen the information, it's weird. Like Games Workshop announced that the first Marathi book, so there's going to be a series of books which are probably going to be like Psychic Awakening, so there'll just be a bunch of supplementary books that we get to buy leading up to a new edition. How fun. And then it all won't
which are going to be invalid in 6 months.
Well, no, it'll be invalid but in the middle of next year, so there's 8 months on them, like and diminishing returns. The later books after this will be even less likely to maintain. Colonel Cabbage.
We'll buy them anyway.
Pardon me? Yeah, well, we will buy them anyway. Big shout out to Speckles in the chat, who is a frontline worker, so let's all clap for him. Lovely. So the things that we found out first, we found out about Daughters of Cain, and that they are going to have a little Morathi and a big Morathi war scroll. They're also going to get allegiance abilities and a war scroll battalion. Have you got any thoughts about this?
Well, they've been getting a lot of love recently, haven't they? We know because they've had the new Snake Lady announced, and I can't remember what it's called, with the Slanesh box. So, the new, the Shadespire Warband. They've been getting sort of like these, just, gentle buffs, isn't it? Keep them ticking along. Great. More power to them.
They need it because they've only been 60% win rate since the release, actually. But I'm a bit sad about this because if you guys listen back to not this show on Monday, but the Monday before when we were talking about our favorite rules in Age of Sigmar, the Iron Heart of Morathi was one of my favorite rules. It was really tough to deal with, but I thought it was super fun and it always posed a very unique problem in an army. Now with a mini baby Morathi and a big mini Morathi and a big Morathi, maybe they're gonna get rid of that, which would be quite sad. I don't know, but either way, something that updates away from Hagnar would be fun. And redesigning the army, we will see. And obviously, there's going to be a bunch of narrative following on from this, but we don't really know much about that. So, has anyone got any other thoughts about this one before we look at the next one?
See, I don't know. And
we lost you there, Matt. Sorry.
Sorry. I think she'll keep Ironheart of Cain, because. I don't know. Imagine having like the Necron book that came out recently. The Citan, they've got the 3 wound rule thing. Mm-hmm. Imagine having 2 pieces running around like that. It gives you so much more play, I think, in the shooting meta. If you can have these 2 power pieces running around the board, because then they don't necessarily have to update the bows to compete in the shooting meta. That's suddenly my opinion. I think she'll keep it.
That's true. Okay, you think she'll keep it? It'll be interesting to see. I'm not. Too stressed if she... I'd be sad if she lost it, but I'm excited for the little updates anyway, although truthfully Daughters of Cain isn't the one I'm most excited about from this list. The other one, there's 5 there's 5 things that are getting updated here. So Cities of Sigmar, they're getting 2 new cities, which is going to be wild. 2 new cities worth of stuff, and a War Scroll battalion featuring the Sorceress of Drusa Kraeth. So all the old Dark Elf models as were are now going to get some sort of updates and some new city rules, which is cool. Are you a bit a Cities fan, Matt?
Yeah. Well, do you know what? I think it's great because I think it's a lot of people said when the Cities book came out that it's going to be this sort of thing that they'll drop eventually, and I think it's obviously put faith in the book. I think for me, and that it's not going to disappear in AOS 3 or AOS 4. Cities is great. They're always annoying to play against. They've always got some sort of trick that you hate, and it's great. More tricks, more anything that widens the meta is great, isn't it? So
absolutely. And I think we saw from what's interesting is the Wrath of the Everchosen book feels like a kind of precursor to this entire situation, where we just got random allegiance abilities for random things. What the hell? Where's this come from? So now we're going to get all these campaign updates, and I think that's quite fun. I am very excited about it, and also some of the worst. It allows them to attack some of the worst war scrolls in those books because, Dark Shards weren't really taken unless they were getting stabbed by a sorceress. You didn't see Dread Spears.
Anything unless you're getting stabbed. Yeah.
There's just some gore somewhere in the Mortal Realms, sat with a bunch of Dark Shards, and they're like, "What are you up to?" It's just waiting to get thrown in a fire. What about you? Just waiting to get stabbed by this nasty.
It's like an Alcoholics Anonymous club or something. They're all sat there going I got stabbed again this week.
I want that story now of the Gore and the Dark Shard who ran away together so that they weren't sacrificed for some sort of power.
In love, ran away. Who knows? It's eloped. Great, it'd be great.
It will be. So Cities of Sigmar getting 2 new cities worth of rules. Also getting the narrative for 2 new cities as well is going to be really exciting. So I'm looking forward to seeing what they look like. And they did say that one of the narratives is some sort of pirate city or brigand city is going to be attacked by the Idoneth.
Vampire pirates?
Vampire pirates? Question mark? Question mark?
I don't know.
However, Stormcast Eternals Wow, big update. 3 allegiance abilities, 5 War Scroll battalions. So, I mean, that's wild.
They needed more, let's be honest.
They didn't have enough. So, yeah, so there'll be...
How many have Gargant's got, out of interest?
Gargant War Scroll battalions. They've only got one that Darren made.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, a homebrew one. No actual War Scroll battalions. Oh, you saying that they should have spent maybe like 2 minutes writing one instead of just 5 more of these? Maybe, but I agree. So
okay.
the War...
They're doing the Stormcast ones, so it's fine.
You are?
In the Stormcast ones, it's fine.
More Stormcast ones is fine, especially with names like these, such as Wardens of the Stormkeep, Storm Tower Garrison, Stormkeep Patrol, Stormkeep Brotherhood, and Van Breck's Blackwatch.
Oh, great!
Yeah, it feels like a child has written these, but whatever. No. Well, so this book, so these are just all contained in the Morathi book. So you more than likely are going to see a bunch of books that will probably cover every major faction. And that's right. I know someone already made the joke in the chat. That means Legion of Asgore won't be getting one. But that's fine. That doesn't upset me. Yeah? You're a dick, not me. For bringing it up. But the thing that excites me there is the War Scroll battalions are give and take, but the allegiance abilities, 3 new allegiance abilities, is pretty massive. And I don't know if that's going to be all Stormcast, because that'll open up loads of stuff, or if it's going to be... And also maybe this explains the drop in points that we saw for the GHB, because it said a lot of this is to do with anvils of Heldenhammer. They said that in the book.
Yes, they're the featured one, aren't they? In the narrative.
And a lot of those are shooting, and we saw a lot of those units come down in points in the GHB. So maybe there's some sort of relation there, which is cool.
Only the design studio will know.
Not even those, because what they actually do is just put their hand in a ball pit to pick out points.
I thought it was like a dartboard or something like that. I don't know. But,
That's too. You can aim far too much there. This is just complete random luck. What is the 40,000-foot view of this? Ask Vince. Apparently, by the way, doesn't matter. Apparently, that's fine lingo. But anyway, next up, Slaves to Darkness. They get a War Scroll Battalion, Rorkar Gresh, which looks like it might be an all-chariot battalion. And
exciting. Yes,
very, very exciting. And also 4 new allegiance abilities. 4.
Because they didn't have enough.
When I'm playing Slaves to Darkness, like, what are you playing? I'm like, just spoilers. Like, okay, remind me which one. And then they're like, oh no, I'm playing actually Knights of the Empty Throne, 7th Circle. Yeah. And you're like, what the fuck?
They've got almost as many allegiance abilities as Stormcast have battalions. That's how I see it.
Yeah, they do. But I'm excited for that because...
Yeah, you know what? Great, do it. Because half of them are like average anyway. So, more variety, great.
Yeah, more variety is great. And it sounds like rules-wise, like a bumper book. Like, that's a lot of stuff. Like, which is great, and I've been a big advocate for this sort of style of release anyway, because this is something that excites a lot of people. Instead of it just being, oh, you're into Gargants or you're not into Gargants, or you're into Lumineth and you're not into Lumineth. This is like this affects loads of armies that already exist, and it affects everyone. So I think that's really fun.
It's like a winter points thing, isn't it? Or like the the GHB, or everyone gets excited. It's great.
Yeah, it's a lot like I've advocated for this for a long time. It reminds me a lot of the books that you used to get in the Horus Heresy, where it's just kind of everyone got some sort of update or some sort of new unit or rule. Not saying that the intern who's listening has done a good job, but you deserve a cookie, intern. Well done. And then the Idoneth Deepkin, they've got a new War Scroll battalion called the Bloodsurf Hunt. They've also got another one called the Nemetar's Royal Guardians. But I think the exciting news is that there are 4 new War Scrolls, specifically the Alapexes, the Leviathan, and both Eidolons, so the Sea Guys, are... Oof!
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I want them to be good. I've got an Eidolon somewhere, sitting dusty and unpainted on my shelf, and please, make it good.
I mean, it's the Leviathans that I'm excited about. Like... Because if they've been even half smart and they've made an army of turtles good, like, that's the future. That's where we all want to be.
Has Ben Johnson bought all the turtles? Are they in stock? This is the questions we need to be asking.
The first thing you do is you go onto all the people with early access, like so your play testers and your people who get content early, and you just see what they've bought, and if they just happen to have a load of turtles in their most recent Twitter profiles or pictures, then you know that we're in.
We're in.
We're in. We're in. What I really like is that you can kind of tie threads together where you might have seen some lad like painting on Twitter or painting on some sort of stream and just being like, I just wanted to paint a turtle. And you're like, what do you know? Yeah. What do you know?
I just had 5 turtles.
Who knew?
I know.
What's exciting about them?
I just had 10 gun haulers on my shelf, whatever.
See, what's interesting about the Deepkin update is it doesn't say new allegiance abilities or even updated allegiance abilities. It's just new war scrolls. So that would mean that the current allegiance abilities of High Tide, being able to stack all your attacks on turn 3, will be effective. And then if you just make the Leviathans better, which some people were already taking them anyway. Big shout out to all my Northern Irish bros. Republic of Irish bros. Yes. Turtles are a big deal there. But if they just get updated to just have like being better in the game, then like they've already got the allegiance ability is already strong. So that's pretty.
I think the allegiances are fine. I think the thing the book struggles with is just having like 1 or 2 good scrolls, and if they get some more good scrolls, I'm sure we would see instantly more variety. Because I'm sure everyone's sick of eels. God knows. But yeah.
My not concern, but I think Prop Joe says in the chat, which makes sense. People start choosing turtles and sharks over eels. Imagine how obnoxious those war scrolls would be. The kind of main issue, I think, probably with the Leviathans and Alapexes and the Eidolons being better, is that they're going to need to be as good as the eels or better than the eels to make you buy them, which scares me because eels are already too good. So.
Yeah, or do different stuff, like different tricks. I don't know, something like that. I'm always a big fan of like cool abilities, and that's the first thing I look at in a book. If I like, something that'll a new synergy or like I don't know, maybe Leviathan's teleport now. That'd be crazy, or something like that. Mm-hmm. That's what I think that could. I don't think they need to necessarily make them as killy, but yeah,
they just need to have some different function in the army.
Yeah, a different role.
Yes. Okay. All right. Well, and Draconda says, narrator, there will still be eels. Potentially. There might still be eels. But to make it possibly better, deep mares are what Volti and any Achillean kings ride. So they're not eels. They're kind of like seahorses that are powerful. They're getting mount traits, and Leviathans are getting mount traits. So that's quite scary because that's an updated war scroll and updated, like you might see Metal Cruncher on them or the rerolls to hit, like you get, who knows? And maybe they're going to be the new Ghoul Kings, but with 3-up saves.
Yeah, oh god, that'd be cool, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, great.
Yeah. So it's a really exciting time. Really exciting time. There isn't much really to unpack out of all this because we don't know. But I, for one, am excited. Things I'm very, very excited about are the new allegiance abilities for Slaves to Darkness. I'd like to see the allegiance abilities for Stormcast as well, because I think it would give us a nod for what the eventual Stormcast book will be like. Do I like that they're delivering in this method? Yes, I do. I like a book that kind of updates and everyone can be on board with it. Am I bothered about the fact that it's just a precursor to a new edition? Maybe a bit. It's a bit of a cash grab like you see with Psychic Awakening and other stuff. But I liked the narrative that you got with Wrath of the Everchosen. I liked the setting and the feel of the moving forward story. I think that's really exciting. So I hope that they follow that trend. And we've been lucky in Age of Sigmar. Like, if you go back to the precursor stuff in Malign Portents leading up to Soul Wars, I think they actually did that pretty well. And I think if they can continue on with that theme, like, we're lucky that we don't have the 40k setting where they've got to kind of drag 30 years of history into the future. We've just got this new thing that we can just explore at any point. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, I think, as you said, Malign Portents, I think was a great way of testing it out. And it gets everyone more excited because it's more of a holistic update, isn't it? You can move the narrative forward while moving forward and, hot fixing the game. Yeah, I think they're like a genius way to do it, to be honest.
Agreed. Gets Chopper says, so Marathi to try for Godhood and release Slanesh. Yeah, I think that's definitely the case. If this is how we get water scroll updates for terrible units, then I'm all for it. Bring on the Cygor meta. Says Colonel Cabbage. Also, hi, Colonel. Does mount trait on turtles mean hero turtles, Pete Pratt? 4 hero turtles. 4 ninja teenage hero turtles.
Yes. Didn't think of that. It's great.
Maybe.
I'm doing that if no one else is.
I personally find the AOS setting confusing and not exciting, says Nick. That's fair. Also, Nick, are you available for me to call you after the show? Question mark. Right, so sorry about that. Matt is here today to talk about all that stuff's really exciting. I'm very excited about it. Yay. Dave Fraser says, as long as it doesn't end up like the end times and get all scrapped in a year's time. Yes, I think these books will be out of date in a year's time. That's pretty much what they do, so just be aware of that before you buy them. So, Matt, we got you on today to talk about Lumineth, right? Because we did the review show. You've had a lot of hands-on experience with it, whether it's been on TTS, and you've been deep diving the book for the past few weeks, months. Is it months now?
I'm a Seraphon convert now. I love it. It's Seraphon.
Seraphon gone. So you've jumped from Seraphon to Lumineth, which is a
to Lumineth.
Yeah. So my question to you is like, well, let's try and start at the beginning. I don't know if you listened to our Lumineth review sort of thing, but like
it was a while ago, but I did watch it. Yeah.
Okay. So do you think that there's some stuff that's like what are the strengths of the book? Let's start with what do you think the strengths are? Where does that sit?
Obviously, there's a lot of play, massive play in the hero phase, massive play in the shooting phase, and I think decent play in the combat phase. I think where the book struggles will be obviously movement, but there are ways around that. So there's some tricks in there you can pull, especially with allies and stuff as well. I think that's interesting. A lot of interesting scope there for Lumineth, especially with the new Marathi book and all these Idoneth Deepkin buffs. Any Deepkin buff, I look at it as a Lumineth buff now. I'm like, yes.
Okay. All right. Well, so let's break it down. So the hero phase is a strong start. Talk me through this. Like, is it just because of Teclis, or is it all of it?
No. Well, I mean, starting out, everything's a wizard. Well, everything apart from cow stuff is a wizard, which is crazy. So, I mean, most normal armies, you might have 1 or 2 casters with maybe 1 or 2 casts each, and if you've got everything, even your battle lines, casting spells, and I think the key thing is that the way they've done it as well is really niche, and it can get around some stuff because only the unit champion is a wizard, and they're very specific about that. So sort of you can like stuff that targets wizards or does extra damage against wizards, unless you can declare against the unit champion, then you're going to ignore those those buffs to the enemy as well. But yeah, everything's a wizard. There are multiple access to multiple casting bonuses, whether it's from like Twin Stones. Teclis has an aura that gives you +1 to cast, unbind, and dispel.
Yeah. So,
or if you pick something like Zytrek.
Sorry, I was gonna ask. Could you like now give us the details on Twin Stones and how they work? Because there's a functional thing that sometimes people miss when they're having a conversation.
Yeah. So Twin Stones is an ender spell. It's cast on a 7, and it only cast by Lumineth wizards, obviously. And you set up within 6 of the caster. And basically, every time a spell's cast in I think like 12 of the Twin Stones, you put a dice by it, and you increase that by 1. So it starts on 1, and it always goes back to 1. And each time you cast a spell, it goes up by 1. And then anytime you cast another spell, you can choose to use the power of the Twin Stones that's stored there. And let's say you've cast a few spells and it's up to the dice is up to a 5 on the Twin Stones, then you can take that and add +5 to the spell you're casting, and then the dice resets to 1 and keeps going up again. But the important thing about Twin Stones is that it's always going to be a 1, so you're always going to get +1 to cast, basically, at least on everything if you cast it. So. And it's 30 points.
That's insane.
Which is
so would you? Am I right in thinking that really you use it for the +1 so that everyone's got a slightly more reliable cast, or do you tend to try and save up the points for a big cast, or is it you roll the dice and then you add the +1 after when you want to?
I think, let me have a look. No, it's you when you cast you add yeah, it's after the roll, I think. Yeah. Oh no, sorry, before making the roll. Before making the roll. So yeah, it's not like Aether Quartz, which is another way you can boost your casting value. They've just got access to so much buff to cast that it's more impressive than Seraphon, I think, in the Magic.
Yes, because you're casting a lot. What is there? So there's also a fun interaction. There's an interaction between the Aether Quartz and actually when you cast, right? Which is slightly different.
Yeah. So when you Aether Quartz is like it's like KO with their Aether Gold. So every unit gets a share of Aether Quartz, and you can use it for various things. And you can use it for either +1 to hit, which is when you declare the roll. So you say, I'm going to attack this unit. I want +1 to hit. You can do it with a +1 save, which is when your unit's picked to be attacked. So if your enemy says, I'm going to attack that unit of Wardens, you can go +1 save. Or you can use it to add 1 to cast, which is after you see the roll. Mental. Or you can use it to re-roll the cast or cast another spell. And I think that Aether Quartz mechanic is one of the key ways that Lumineth answers a lot of questions, because it just gives you so much flexibility, because you've always got the buffs when you want them, wherever you want them, and there's nothing the opponent can do to stop it.
Yes. Okay. Very strong. Okay, good. So that's the hero phase. My next question about the hero phase is specifically thinking about the French list that we talked about on the Monday show, where it had 70 Sentinels, but most importantly, it had 8 units and 2 Cathalers. So that means you effectively had 10 wizards. Right, where's your go-to with your spell loadout? Obviously, there's a version with Teclis and there's a version without Teclis. And this is normally around the Venari spells. I'm pretty certain that the Alarith spells aren't really considered the strong spell or taken very much. So in the Venari spells, are they I have to have this in the list, or are there?
I think you basically want, except for Solar Flare, which is a bit of it's just a bit short range and doesn't really do that much. I think you want all of them, because Speed of Heesh is the key spell that gets around the movement. So it's cast on a 5, and it doubles the move of a Lumineth Realm-lords unit. So you can have your Dawn Riders, suddenly they go 28 inches, which is crazy.
Yep.
Ethereal Blessing. Ethereal's always nice. Make a unit Ethereal, suddenly they're ignoring Rend. Forcing Total Eclipse, forcing your opponent to spend 2 command points every time. Board wide, incredible. And especially if you're not taking Teclis, you want sort of protection of Heesh, which is like his 5-up DPR aura, but at a bit smaller range. So that's always good. And obviously the key spell, especially in that list, the 70 Sentinel one, is going to be Lambent Light, because it allows you to reroll all hits for missile weapons on one unit. Mm-hmm. So that list there they'll try and ping Lambent Light probably through Spell Portal to get it extra range, so it can basically hit whatever you want, and then they'll just move the bows into range and just re-roll those hits, Fish Immortals and Dual Immortals, and bad times.
In your opinion, how important is the Calathus spell, the Sealather, or whatever? Because yeah, go on.
I think the Cathaller is, when I saw the War Scroll for the Cathaller, I was like, yes, this is it. This is the one. Mainly, obviously, the Bravery redirection thing is great. The Bravery debuff stuff is great, and obviously, it's their answer to not having much CP generation. It's just that being able to burn that Cathaller free Battle Shock Ignore. Fantastic. But the spell, and for those of you who don't know, it's called Darkness of the Soul. And basically, it's cast on a 7, I believe. Yeah, 7. And you pick a unit with an 18. And then you roll. So if they're affected by it, they roll 2d6. And if it's above their bravery, so you do this each time you move, charge, shoot, or fight. So you've got to roll 2d6 each time you try and do one of those things. And if it's above your bravery, you can't do it. And obviously, this book has a lot of ways to debuff bravery, sometimes permanently as well. You've got access to a lot of board-wide bravery debuffs and easy-to-apply bravery debuffs. So it's like Be'lakor, but every turn, and you can make it better.
Yeah, okay. We've had a couple of updates in the chat, by the way. I'd like to talk about this in more detail. Adam Hazelwood's put designer commentary has highlighted the Twin Stone effect order. The spell you consume, the charges for now adds the charge afterwards. So most will be +2 to cast after the first one, which may be something you didn't know. So you've got an extra additional +1 to cast.
Oh,
on your
nice!
Dudes.
There you go.
So after the first,
even that's even more mental.
Oh, incredibly shit.
There you go. 30 points, guys.
30 points for +2 to
points.
cast army-wide is wild. All right, so yeah, like a Be'lakor ability, but you're not paying the points. You're taking a Calitha anyway because you're taking the Aurelian Legion almost all the time. Like, her ability to do the bravery ability is just insane. So like already like a hot pick in the army as is. And then that spell, like, how much would you say your list or any list that you write? Do you think I'm going to take Portal and that's going on that?
Yeah.
Or
definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah, I always take Portal, and it's never for tech list. Although obviously having the option to do the tech NATO is great. But yeah, it's always for the Cathal debuff. Because the second it's got so much utility. The second your opponent like screens out in a line in front of their army, you go, great, I just debuff that front unit, your whole army's pinned there. Or that key unit, you've got 30 Iron Drakes that are going to shoot me. No, they're not. It's so oppressive, and it combos really well with the Law of the Mountains actually. So I'm of the opinion, Rob, that the Law of the Mountains is actually really good. And I think you've got 2 key spells in the Law of the Mountains, and that is one of them is Voice of the Mountain, which is -2 bravery in your turn and -1 until your next hero phase. So your turn it's -2 bravery board wide on the opponent, and then after your turn in their turn it's -1 until your next hero phase. And Crippling Vertigo, which is essentially a Cathal spell.
Yeah.
But it's only moves, charge, or pile-ins. So you've essentially got 2 Be'lakors available.
And the Law of the Mountain spell that you said -2 bravery, is that going to be on Cathal's spell as well as the other spell that you just talked about?
Yeah, it's just board wide -2 bravery to your opponent.
So I'm rolling 2d6 to stop you moving on one unit and on another unit, and then you're now -2 for that. So it's 2d6 +2 effectively.
And if you transfer an Aether Quartz to them, it's +3. And
nice.
If you like to do, cast Horrorghast, then you can make it up to -5. So
Horrorghast is another endless spell that's available, a generic one from Forbidden Power, and that spell does
-1 bravery within 12 or -2 within 6. So it's pretty juicy. So you could maybe make them -3 or a couple of units -3, and then potentially -4 or 5 on that setup, and then you roll 2d6 to beat them and stop them moving. Yeah, even Ossiarch Bone Reapers and stuff with bravery 10 has to care about it. It's like
yeah, because you can drop them down to 5, and then your average on the 2d6 is 7, right? So wow, okay, that's fun. For the Lumineth guy.
It's not very fun for your opponent. I played a game against Owen, who was on the show yesterday for people who weren't watching. And it was sort of the first time I tried this out, and he was using some Kernoth Hunters, which I think sat in the middle of the board for most of the game. Bless him. But It's good fun. It's good fun.
So Inferno Storms in the chat is saying OBR about Battleshock Community. It's got nothing to do with that. It's to do with their bravery being reduced and then doing things on their bravery checks. Because if it's on something that's on their modified bravery, then if you drop it down from 10 to 5, then obviously you can do a test on it. There's been a question in the chat from Bling Marine, which I think is a fair one, and I think you can give a better description to than me. I know I'm new to AOS. From Get to the Chopper. So how balanced do you feel the Lumineth Realm book feels? Going to be like previous releases and break the game, or is it actually like okay with positives and negatives? Like what your thoughts? That's a bit of an end of the show question, but like how do you feel about it? You stepped away from Seraphon, and we all know like my feelings at least, and probably everyone's feelings about Seraphon. You've gone from powerhouse to powerhouse. Huh?
Krog did nothing wrong. Okay,
No, he's fine.
He's fine.
If anything, I want him to get some points.
Yeah. In regards to the Lumineth book, though, I think internal balance, excellent. I think they've really nailed it. Every unit has a role. Nothing's redundant. External balance, I think it's strong. I don't think it's overpowered, but in the hands of a good player, it can be, I think, getting very oppressive. I think it's just got a lot of non-interaction, which is I guess you can argue is not great for player experience, but or power level. It's strong. It's strong is what it is, but
Okay.
I wouldn't say it's like Seraphon level busted.
Okay.
I didn't say.
Yeah, oh no, you don't have to. I'm not asking you to advocate, just your genuine feelings about it. Like, because I think the reason it's fun having you on the show, and I'd like to do this a little bit more sometimes after books have been released for a while and get some people's kind of feedback on it, like on what they think about it, is because you've had a lot more experience. You're deep diving the book, working with it more and understanding. One of the other things that gets brought up is obviously board presence and the number of models that you have on the board, especially if you go for something like Teclis or you go for a load of Sentinels. You know, like you don't necessarily have the combat punch. Like, what's your experience been on their survivability and also their ability to, like, counterplay in the combat phase?
I think survivability is good, strong. It's obviously stronger, I think, if you go down the cow route, just because you're going to have those, ignoring -1 rend, potentially if you go your Metrica, ignoring -2 rend, and then you can get, the 5-up DPR save on top of that. But in terms of combat punch, I've never had a problem with them being not fighty. I think, again, what they've got is for most people that don't or people that don't know, is basically all your key units, your Dawn Riders, your Sentinels, your Wardens, they all do mortals on 6s to hit, which you can buff with a spell on their War Scroll. You can buff mortals,
which is 5s to hit, but it ignores modifiers. So if you buff it to a 5, even if you make a -2 to hit, they're still doing it on 5s, right?
Yeah. So in my list, I take 30 Wardens, and they will kill anything. Okay?
Yeah,
they will kill anything they touch.
That's why I said a book review. People are like, they're not that good in a fight. I'm like, are you mental? Like, that's isn't that like average 10 mortal wounds? I don't think that's even right. It's 20 mortal wounds on average. Isn't it?
If you get spell off, if you get spell off, 20 mortal wounds on average, and then you can, reroll ones. And the best thing is if you charge them, they get even better. Because suddenly they're wounding on 3s with -1 rend, and you're like, great. If they've eaten the Aether Quartz, they can be a 3-up save. They could also potentially be -1 to hit, and they could have a 5-up DPR. And if you take them in Sayar, they could be 2-up save. If you really want, because for those of you that don't know, Sayar is one of the sub-factions. Every unit, this is the Sayar rule, every unit gets a load of Aether Quartz. So every unit gets 2 Aether Quartz shares, which you can then you're only allowed to spend 1 per phase. But Sayar, you get a command ability that lets you burn a CP and spend another one in that phase. So you can double tap it on stuff, which really ups the survivability of all your key pieces, especially Teclis.
So can you double tap it on one unit or double? I thought in Sayar you had to do Aether Quartz on one unit and Aether Quartz on another unit, or can you do them both?
No, you can double tap it on the same unit.
Oh, that's fun. So they could, -1 to hit, 2+ save, 5-up DPR.
Yeah. And obviously in Orlan Legion, if they're close to another unit, rerolling once a save.
Perfect. Okay, good. Good. So you always you normally put something like 30 Wardens, Wardens in the list. For some combat punch.
That's personal preference. I see a lot of people run 2 lots of 20s, which I think is perfectly valid. But I quite like the fact that if a buff goes off, it's going to buff more. Does that make sense? If I have 2 units of 20 Wardens, I'm probably using 1 to cast a different spell. So it's all about, again, it all ties back to the hero phase with Lumineth. So instead, I've gone for 30, because then I can have that 10-man unit. They can perhaps hold an objective or cast an ender spell. That's another thing they can do. The wizards, they are wizards. They're just normal wizards. They can cast ender spells. So yeah, that's a lot of thing. That's something I think a lot of people forget as well. Is when you're pinging Geminids out of a unit champion, they don't see it coming, or something like that. But yeah, I've no problem with the combat punch, and obviously if you want to go down that heavy combat route, you've got the cows.
You've
Oh,
got the cows. Talk to me about the cows, because obviously a lot of focus, I think, over the next few months or 6 months or whenever, like obviously tournament dependent is, and we talked about it a lot on Monday, is those Sentinels. Well, we will get back to those in a moment.
Yeah.
But like people are going to pay attention to that. People are also going to pay attention to Teclis, and I feel like we covered the Calitha, but probably under the radar is the cows. Like, have you got some love for the cows?
I've got a strong. I think there's a few strong cow builds in there. I'm gonna be buying probably like 30 stoneguard at some point, purely because what it's got is great internal synergy with like the Alarith. All the Alarith stuff is really good. So the cows. Let's jump to the Cow War Scrolls. They're essentially the same. You've got the Spirit of the Mountain, which is your bog standard cow. And then you've got Avalenor, who's Cow King, and they're essentially pretty much the same. Or they have all the same abilities, except the Cow Kings do slightly more, or like have slightly bigger auras, or stuff like that. So basically, Cow King. Let's look at the normal cow first. So the 6-inch move, which is okay, I guess. 12 wounds, 3 up save, 10 bravery. They've got a 30-inch, what starts out as 30-inch shooting attack. 3s, then 2s, -2 Ren, D6 damage. That's pretty good.
It's pretty good.
It's pretty good for like character sniping, or just cleaning up little bits. And they've got.
It's kind of like the Gargant throw.
Yeah, but it actually might do something.
Yeah.
Yeah, when Gargants came out, I was just staring at the cows, going like, what? These are like 300 points. You can
almost get 2 cows for a Gargant.
Yeah, and you know what? They'll do so much more.
Yeah.
But yeah, the big hammer. You've got the big main attack, Stoneheart Wild Hammer, 4 attacks, 3-inch reach. That's pretty good. There's a lot of 3-inch reach in the book actually, which catches people out.
Yeah.
4 attacks, 3s, then 2s, -2 rend, 5 damage. And then you've got some feet attacks that do a little bit as well. All the cows you get to pick in the shooting phase and the combat phase, -1 to hit on something at 12. You just go, yeah, -1 to hit. It's like Catacross's boop, -1 to hit.
And you don't roll anything, you just choose.
You just choose.
So again, if they're behind some wardens or something like that, like they charge the wardens, those guys are also -1 to hit because they're like in lockstep. And then
and the best part is that it stacks with the Cow King as well, because they're 2 different abilities. So you can have them if you have 2 cows, a normal one, the Cow King, you can have them at -2 to hit, and then if the wardens are in Shining Company, -3 to hit. It's all good. It's a great time to be alive.
It's a great time, definitely. Okay, yeah. Sorry, please continue. I'm enjoying this. Thanks, you're doing a great job. Yeah, can we just get some love for Matt in the chat, please?
But yeah, now obviously, like most monsters, you go, well, how do I stop most monsters? I wound them. I knock them down their profile till they're basically useless, and then I ignore them. But no, not with Lumineth, because either the cows or the Cow King, if they're near a stone mage, which is your cow hero, hero wizard guy, you just don't give a damn about the damage table. You just don't care. They just fight at full profile if they win 12 inches of a stone mage, which is I found out actually in the last tournament I played. I had a mirror match against Lumineth, and I played a 4 cow list, and I managed to get 1 cow down to 1 wound. And failed to kill him, and then he just smacked off a load of wardens. It wasn't fun, but yeah.
It's an amazing ability. Every other monster is jealous of that. In that, like that's you've been. I mean, Dirthu's just like, am I a joke to you?
I have so much love for Dirthu, but I don't know. I think he's cursed. I think it's just a bad luck thing with him, because you look at his profile and go, he should do more. But
you should do. He should have that ability. Like if he's near a forest, he just fights with full profile. Or But anyway, okay. So yeah, that's the regular cow. Big monster cow.
Big monster cow, pretty much the same. Except he's got a slightly different weapon profile. Instead of having the big smacky hammer. He's got two smaller hammers, and where is he? Where is he gone? Yeah, basically, he compensates for that though by getting 2 more attacks immediately, again at damage 5. However, they're wounding on 3s, -1 rend, but they also do mortals on 6s to hit, and if he gets charged, you get an extra attack, which is actually the same with the normal cow. But I've done the maths on this, and the Cow King works out slightly better than the normal cow in combat, even though he's winning on 3s and with less rend. But yeah, it's not to say that the other cow's bad. They're just both amazing, to be honest. They also, the key thing with the Avalenor is he also has the hero keyword, which is excellent because it means he can buff himself with like reroll 1s to hit or reroll, 1 save or something like that. However, he is the only hero in the book that is sub-faction key locked. He's locked to Ymetrica, so if you put him in anything else, he doesn't get the buffs from that sub-faction, which is why you generally see him quite a lot in Ymetrica. But that's okay, because most people are going to be taking him in Ymetrica anyway with the Alarith Temple Battalion, because he fits in that. And the internal synergy is just bonkers. You've got the Stone Mage buffing the cows. You've got the cows buffing the infantry cows, the stoneguard, with extra attacks. And then you've got the Stone Mage also increasing, the rend on the stoneguard as well. And then all packaged nicely in a nice reroll saves battalion. Yeah, it's great.
Yeah, and it just feels like they work really well together, effectively.
Yeah. I almost look at it as like 2 books, the Lumineth book. There's like the cow half and
the Venari half.
The Venari half. And sometimes there's a lot of merit in taking... I feel like it's more merit in taking Venari elements and bringing those into the cow stuff. But equally, I can see maybe some argument for putting like a big cow in a more Venari heavy list. Yeah.
Okay. All right. So we're going to have to go back to Sentinels, of course, and talk about them as much as everyone would like to avoid the conversation. What do you think about Sentinel spam? 70 being pretty strong, just 40 being fine. You got any thoughts?
I think, and this is my honest opinion, if you go above 30, maybe 40, you've taken too many.
Okay, how come?
I think because the key, so that Zytrek, that French list we saw, it was French list, wasn't it? Yeah,
it was French.
That list we saw was it relies around Lambent Light essentially. So you debuff that unit, and then everything rerolls to hit against it, and then you fish for the mortals. But everything to get the rerolls has to target that unit. So if you get an unlucky roll, or even if you power up the bows, so they're doing mortals on 5s, I think it averages about three mortals per 10 guys. So 3 mortals on just a unit, and that's going to be pretty much the sum total of the damage of the unit, because the actual profile isn't that great. It's all about the mortals, isn't it?
Yeah.
So if you're not targeting that that unit you want to destroy with the Lambent Light, then you're only doing like, say, 3 mortal wounds there, 3 mortal wounds there, which it's excellent at like chip damage, character sniping, but it's not going to like clear out 30 Iron Drakes unless you focus on that unit. And obviously, if you have ways of stopping the spell, whether it's a spell ignore, save, or you unbind it, or something like that, or it fails to cast, God forbid, then suddenly you've got 70 Sentinels that are kind of a little bit dead in the water. So I in my list take 20, just because it adds that ranged threat and it allows you to do something in the shooting phase. It gives you another. Yeah, because
6 more wounds at 36 inches is a dead support character.
Yeah, and if you Lambent Light it, it goes up to like 10 or 11, I think, something like that. I'm not quite sure on the maths, but that's usually enough, especially with Teclis, because he's got a shooting attack as well, to take something off, with a monster with 12 wounds or something. I think that's what they're there for in the book. I don't think they're there to like clean house in the way that spamming Eald does. I don't think, because obviously they're not great in combat. And you tie up shooting. You've got 70 Sentinels. If you suddenly charge them with, I don't know, 40 skinks, then they've got to target these skinks, because they're in combat with them. So I think, I don't know, I think it's more of a meme than like an actual. I don't see it going like 5-0, 6-0.
Okay, all right. That's I mean, it did already go 5-0, but that's
Oh well, yeah, yeah. Maybe with some luck, but I don't see it doing it again.
Okay, all right. That's fair. That's fair. Finally, the last thing is the big man himself, the tech wonder that he is. So what do you make of Teclis?
Oh yes, love him.
Yeah,
I love him. Oh yeah. I mean, obviously, it was the first thing that I think most of us looked at when the book came out.
of course.
He's so good. He's so good. But I don't think necessarily for the reasons that people think he is, because what he is the ultimate support piece, and who actually is a little bit fighty. He's not great, but he'll kill 10 guys holding an objective. Yeah, he's so. For those of you who don't know, he's got the big ability, which is he auto casts, and you pick at the start of the hero phase one spell, and it's auto cast, can't be unbound. Which is obviously amazing. If you need that spell to go off to win the game, it's done. Or you can cast 2 at 12, which can be unbound, or you can cast 4 at 10, which again can be unbound. But the important thing is that none of them can be modified or changed. So it sort of stops a lot of stuff that interacts with like debuffing spells. So like any minus cast, stuff like the Corn exploding skulls and stuff like that. Zinch changing, dice rolls, whatever. You can't mess with it. So it's reliability, and which is what we're always looking for in a competitive list building environment, isn't it? Reliability. So being able to smack out 4 spells, and Teclis knows all the spells from both laws. So you've got anything you want on call, which is great, because then it really lets you in the hero phase go, right, what can I, and this is how I look at my hero phases when I use Teclis. So I go, what can I sort of pass off to the other units to cast? So like I want Teclis to be casting stuff that I don't, I can't live without. So like his big DPR aura, or say Voice of the Mountains or something like that. And then I might go, okay, well in that case, this 10-man Warden unit can cast Lambent Light, or these Dawn Riders, they can cast Speed of Hish. Because a lot of the casting values in the book are quite low, and Teclis helps the army get those off as well, because he has an aura of I can't remember what the aura range is. Yeah, +1 to cast, Dispel, and Unbind, which is great.
Also, eventually, your opponent's just going to run out of unbinds. Like
exactly.
Like almost no one has 10 unbinds in their army. And that's if they're in range. And then that's why those Sentinels are so deadly, because you can be like, well, I'll just take out those 2 casters, and then like you're not stopping anything at this point. I'm just rolling on my own. Yeah, just a big deal. And
another great thing you can use Teclis for is to bait out unbinds, because he has some key spells that people want to stop. So for those people that don't know, on his War Scroll, he's got a DPR aura. It's 18 inches within, wholly within of Teclis, and he's got a big 6-inch base anyway. So it's a big bubble of a 5+ ignore wounds or mortal wounds. Fantastic. And he's also got another 18-inch range spell, which is Storm of Searing White Light, and that's a sort of mortal wounds to everyone within 18 inches, either D3 on a 2+, but if you roll a 5 or a 6, it's a D6. And that's all units within 18. So they're pretty big, big boy spells. And I like to maybe ping those out first, and you watch opponents go, oh God, do I roll against that? It's cast on a 10, maybe it's cast on a 12, and then it's like, it's again posing more questions. And then maybe they roll against it, and great, you've used one of your unbinds. I can power up my bows free of charge, easy.
Yes.
Yeah. Teclis also very key in that he gets a lot of good in the.
Sorry, we lost you there, Matt, for a second, which is a shame. We might have lost all the internet, and I'm now on my own little box. Anyone in the room? No. What a terrible way. It was such a good show up until this point. Really happy with it. I hope you guys enjoyed it, listening at home. And I don't know if the chat can hear me still. But if you can, let me know. Sorry, Matt, we lost you for a minute there. No, we might have lost him full time. Matt, hello? Yeah, hi. Oh, no. It's because everyone's working from home nowadays, so there's no internet left in the UK. I can hear if you chip up whenever you can, Matt. But I've loved what you've said so far. It's been great. No. All right. Well, I think we were towards the end of it anyway, and I'm just going to thank Matt, even though I can't hear Matt, for his his pause in a great place, for being a legend. And giving us some really good information. It was a nice deep dive. I'm very excited about everything that's going to come up from Broken Realms. So I've enjoyed that. And I'm looking forward to finding what that is on that journey. Let's just see what's happening here. Cannot hear you, Matt. Can't hear you at all, bud. But that's Matt from the South London Legion. So if you ever want to see those guys, he's also in one of the Super Series teams as well. So you'll see Matt playing at some point in the future. Thanks, buddy. I am never on my own because I'm with the Twitch chat, and you guys have been great. Thank you for a wonderful day with you guys today. Don't forget to join us for the 40k show tonight. We'll be doing our Space Marine book read through, which I'm very much looking forward to with Nick and Tom. It's been a pleasure as always doing this stream streak with you guys. Can't thank Matt enough. He's a legend. Lovely, lovely man. And Tristan. And I've enjoyed seeing all you guys. Archie, Grinaldi, Bling Marine, Tristan. I hope you're all well. Tom, Colonel Cabbage. Thanks to everyone that's watching on Patreon. Couldn't do without you. And of course, all the podcast bros. You guys are great. Yeah, big love to Matt. He's on Twitter. You can throw him some love. He's just a great, great guy. And yeah, tune in tomorrow. Next stream streak. We're at day 223. I've worked it out, by the way. If we're going to hit the year mark, because I might as well work it out, we've only got to wait till March. So it's not even that long away now. We've done pretty well. We're further away. We're closer to a year than we were from the start. So we're going to keep going. Yeah. So you guys have a great day. Look after yourselves. And if you want to join us tonight, please, that'd be awesome. We're going to talk Space Marines. We're going to hang out. We're going to talk about all the new 40k news. I'm really excited about that. See you guys soon and have a great day.